methods to assassinate black people. They use their schools to funnel black students through a school-to-prison pipeline. They use their state institutions, bought politicians, business conglomerates, and white supremacist domestic terrorists to incite violence over and over again.
Wow.
And then they use their new president to enact a law and order administration.
So let all shoot
all
what
to
all
make
black
them
people
shoot
did.
first, to make them ask questions later, make them scream, "I thought he had a gun in his hand," and "I feared for my life," and "he matched the description of a suspect," and "she was threatening us." To shoot and kill Philando Castile, Charlena Lyles, Keisha Michael, Keith Bursey, and Waukesha Wilson. Until the only option left is for black people to disrupt the systems that keep us oppressed and
No,
build
you mean
the kinds
complete
of
and total
communities that we
separation of the
want.
races.
And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse to kill more of us. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our communities and our struggle for freedom, is to fight this violence with the raised, clenched black fist of resistance. We are Black Lives Matter, and we are freedom's future place.
You know, folks, first of all, I like to say, start with a good evening and how are you? I pray to my Lord God that you're safe, because things are getting rather heated. I've never seen the country so torn apart. Racist videos of murders, people getting their heads cut off. I mean, it's diabolical and it's sick. And it all starts from, I'm not going to say where it starts from, emboldened by, it seems, Washington and people's interpretation of what's going on there. To feed into this monstrous, racist, murderous, sick dilemma that the United States has gotten into. We seem to look like a stench in front of the whole world. Even our allies think that there's something wrong. But this is a quick video, and I'm going to give you the title of what I'm going to read you some of the excerpts from it. Black Lives Matter LA chapter demands the NRA removes dangerous propaganda videos that it just recently made. Last week, the National Rifle Association reposted a controversial propaganda video disguised as a recruitment ad that takes aim at the Black Lives Matter movement and uses lies in order to whip its supporters into a frenzy and encourage them to take up arms to protect themselves from supposed enemy. A Black Lives Matter chapter in Los Angeles shot back with a video of its own. And I mean, in the response, the group features families of victims of police brutality and murder, Philando Castile, and so on and so forth. Let me read you some of the excerpts from this thing. I'm not going to be long. I want you to watch this. And I'd like to know, what is your take on this? We don't take, this is a response from one of the leading members of the Los Angeles chapter of Black Lives Matter. We don't take that lightly. We know that we are not safe in this country, but we are not scared either. I think the correct pronunciation, forgive me, is Fun Malila. A member of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles says in the video, the first minute of BLM LA video appears to be a direct parody of the NRA 1 minute, where a woman, Dana Lois, accuses an unnamed they of using their media to assassinate real news, using their schools to teach their children that the president is another Hitler. Look at, wait a minute, let's just, I'm just going to give this to you. This is bizarre, and this is how hatred unchecked runs rampant. I mean, it's rather, and listen at this. Yes, the NRA hinted that shooting protesters or otherwise hindering people from exercising their First Amendment rights is the job of the police. Now listen, in the Black Lives Matter LA video, Fragmanella, whatever her name is, counters by saying, we will continue to produce media, teach students, march and protest to not only protest the First Amendment as fiercely as the NRA protests the Second, but to protect our lives from gun-toting racists. She concluded that, and she called the names of all those that were recently killed, unarmed men and women who were killed by the police, the police department personnel. The NRA immediately removed the dangerous propaganda video narrated by conservative talk radio host Dana Lois and Grant, whatever whatever the name is. But you know, my problem is when Philando Castile, he told the cop he had a gun, and he said it several times, and he told him he had a permit, and the man shot him down. And there's several others. You'll see the video. What is it? The National Rifle Association don't want black people to protect themselves. The Second Amendment doesn't is not for black Americans. What are your thoughts? See, I'm not a racist. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm just a black man that happened to be in America. And yes, it really looks like what Malcolm X said is coming totally to pass. It concerns me now. I'm a gun owner. I have a few guns, and everything I have is legal. And not only that, now I find out that the United Nations have a record of everybody in America who owns a gun legally. They have your name on their list. Isn't that something? I'm not here to talk about slavery. I'm talking about, and I want to say something quick. If we don't, it's good to march for jobs and justice. I mean, we've been marching for 50 years. If that's your take on it. Me personally, it hasn't done any good. But fighting for your rights to survive legally. But I'm going to say something. What we should also be doing is let's march up and down in Chicago. Let's march up and down in Detroit where they're shooting down kids. Do you understand that? Our problem is economic. God first. We need God. He's the only one can do it. We've been marching for jobs and justice for 50 years. And I was just waiting for this. I knew, and I've even said in my video about when that cop cold-bloodedly murdered Philando Castile, I knew there was going to be more to that. And the first thing came to my head, and a lot of other my associates, they said the same thing. Where's the NRA? I mean, I knew they were. I knew where they. I'm not going to say that. That's for the next year. But what are your thoughts on this? I don't want any racist comments or any foul language. No. That's not what this is about. But ladies and gentlemen, things are getting very serious in America for all Americans. You have to be extremely careful in schools, shopping malls, theaters, supermarkets. It appears that no one's safe. Once the safest place was for a child going to school. Now that's one of the most dangerous places there is, because once you walk in the door of that school or in that classroom, you're there. So only by an act of God would you escape. We have to pray. We need direction from God. God help us. They're really tearing each other apart. America is more divided now than almost at any time in history. Race hatred, murder. I'm like this. I see a lot of people are ashamed of who they are. I thank God that I am black. If they felt that way, they should have told my uncle, who was in Pearl Harbor in December 7th, 1941. They should have told my grandfather's uncle, who was in World War I, one of the fighting Hell's Angels. That's what the German called. They should have told them. They should have told all those black people. The first man who died in the Revolutionary War was a black man by the name of Crispus Attucks. Why didn't somebody tell these people? Because everybody's not a racist, that's why. You see, I want to say something. I've said it before and I've said it again. Most of these politicians are as full of crap as a constipated elephant. They're in the pockets of big business and special interest groups and lobbyists. That's all they are. They don't give a doggone who you are. They're after money. But Black America, we're disappearing. We need God now. Let's clean our house. All we have stuck is token integration with a few fake so-called civil rights leaders who've been leading us down the wrong path and just sold us out. I'm going to say this. I've said it before and I'll say it again and I'm finished. Do you know economically, when Lincoln freed the slaves, I've said it before, in 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation, there were roughly 4 million blacks. Only about 300,000 had less than 1/2% of America's wealth. Here we are 150 years later, 40 million black Americans, and we still have less than 1/2% of America's wealth. Do you know, according to the Tuskegee Institute, right in New Orleans, Louisiana, do you know that they have a poverty percent of 80% poverty rate? That means that 80% of the people in New Orleans have zilch, nothing. And it's easier for a white man with a record, not just a record, a terrible record, to get a job, but for a black person with no record at all and a college diploma. These are just facts. We have a lot of work to do right here before we tell somebody else how to live all over the world. God bless, folks. Sorry about that. We need help. Pray.